I had a thought pop into my head the other day that I ended up giving a lot of consideration to. It was this question of, what would I do if money wasn't an issue? Now, this wasn't a what would you spend money on if you won the lottery sort of scenario. In fact, it wasn't even like a lottery scenario at all. What if it was the same amount of money that I currently make, a modest amount, comfortable to live on so long as I budget correctly, but I just didn't have to go to work to get it. Every couple of weeks, it just came in. Maybe it's because I'm almost 30 and I've been thinking a lot about occupation versus career, but the question popped in my head and wouldn't let go. So I made a list. I made an actual physical, handwritten list of what I would do with my time if I didn't have to go out and earn money. And the first point wasn't necessarily drastically different. I would do a lot of the same stuff I do at work, but I would do it in a different way. I wrote on my list that I would spend 6 to 8 hours a day working on creative processes. Writing something, filming something, scripting something, editing something. It was work, but it was in a different format. Then I had another thought. What's stopping me from doing any of this on a smaller scale right now? What if I took this tangible list of goals and accomplishments and started on simplified versions of them? What if instead of trying to spend 6 to 8 hours a day focusing on the creative process, what if I started right now with 2 hours a day? 2 hours outside of my regular work schedule where I focused on this creative other stuff. My close friend Tyler, who I do a lot of videos with, he told me that his system for evaluating your job is just to have three boxes, one for finances, one for flexibility, and one for fulfillment, which I think is the main question that those of us that are around 30 really are asking more than anything else. I mean, yeah, at this point, hopefully we're making enough money where we're supporting our families and we're doing what we're supposed to do financially speaking. But like, is fulfillment part of that? You take those three and you evaluate either your current job or the job that you're thinking about, or like maybe your dream job. You take it and on a scale of 1 to 10, you rate the job you're thinking about. I've never really had a dream job in mind outside of like making a TV show or a movie, making something like that. I've always kind of had this mindset of like, maybe I can just be the most productive version of myself. I mean, for lack of a better term, I guess. It kind of sounds like a stupid thing, or kind of self-indulgent. I just want to be the best me possible, That's it. I just want to be the best me. Which is dumb. It's kind of dumb that I've said it out loud now. Oh, here's an action figure of Shane from The Walking Dead.
I know. Wearing a weird outfit, right?
Shane from The Walking Dead. That's
wearing the strangest
That's him.
Outfit. Yeah.
Shane.
I see him. You're so right.
Do you like this? Do you like this camera angle?
It is nice. So, here at Super Squad D, you got to know 3 things. 1, we're never prepared. 2, we almost always improvise. If you don't know that, then you don't really know Super Squad D at all.
Trying to set up for the live stream, and we're reaching a lot of technical difficulties. So, it's kind of excessive. Oh God, why? Is that thing making sound again?
It probably is. I just muted it. I don't know if that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I need to open up the game capture. This is unnecessarily complicated. How long have you been collecting figures and stuff?
Since about May 13th, 2012.
You made that up.
It really is about that day, no lie.
How do you know that?
Because I remember it was 2012, because I was going to Birmingham. I stopped and I walked down a toy aisle, and they had just re-released the Marvel Legends series, and apparently, not apparently. They did have a bunch of the figures there. And I saw a Thor that I thought was really cool. Yeah, that Thor right there with his hammer up. I looked up a review. I thought to myself, I wonder if they have reviews of these toys. So I Googled it, went to a website called itsalltrue.net. It got a good review, 3 thumbs up, so I bought it.
Was it all true?
It was mostly true. I don't like to speak in absolutes, but it was mostly true. Some of the things could have been more true. Hey, it's working. You know what's going to happen, right? I'm going to go to all this trouble and it's going to stream for like 5 minutes and crash.
Here we are. That should be working all right. This is Carmen Electra.
And I'm Carmen Electra.
Okay. This is Super Squad D.
Where the D stands for doing it.
Doing it.
We're just going all in tonight.
And there might be an echo right now.
There probably is a old echo right now. Yeah, it's recording. Why don't you just tell us what just happened?
Well, everything that could possibly go wrong with the live stream did go wrong. Every bit of technical difficulties. The video feed caused everything to crash. And then when we went to a different area, we couldn't get the audio to work. So basically every streaming option that we tried failed. And ultimately it comes down to the fact that I'm an idiot and I left all of our normal streaming equipment at my house.
Which is bad luck. Tonight was just one of those nights where it just didn't go our way, you know? Sometimes it goes our way, other times it doesn't go our way. Tonight it did not go our way.
It didn't go our way.
Well, that's true.
The past week we've had a lot more issues than we've ever really had before. Which is really frustrating.
It's a real good feeling.
Baby Groot's just devastated. Look at him. No. So we've decided instead that we're just going to play Zombies Ate My Neighbors on the Super Nintendo.
Who needs live capture footage when you just point a camera and record?
So it's really frustrating when you really look forward to doing something like this live stream that is a weekly highlight for both Tyler and myself, and for literally everything to go wrong with it. You know, if I'm trying to dedicate more time to creative endeavors and purposefully doing it and not just doing generic something or another, then it's really frustrating to have that backfire right out of the gate, immediately. But it's all good. Hey, I put 2 hours of effort in today. That's day number 1. See what happens tomorrow. Now I'm getting on the road, so time to turn off the camera before I die. I'm not a morning person. Do not enjoy mornings. Why is it so complicated? Why can't the lid just open all the way? Can't deal with this right now. Just kidding. It's not that bad. So my wife and I live in this cute little 2-bedroom house. Of course, living in like a 60-year-old 2-bedroom house, there's not really like a lot of space. So we pretty much have, our bedroom and then office space or spare bedroom, whatever it is. So Ellie's got friends visiting this weekend, and she seems to have an issue whenever she goes to visit someone's house and has to crash in their office. Like, she is kind of weirded out by that when she feels like she's just sleeping in somebody's office. I don't have as much of a problem with this personally. So she asked me to tidy up just a little bit so that it was, a little less, random stuff left over from when we moved in that we haven't actually put in, storage yet. She's at a bread baking class, but like sourdough bread baking, she is like really excited about it. So while the missus is away, I'm going to turn on some Gundam Wing over here on my laptop and get to work. This will fit into my dedicated 2 hours of creative endeavors during the day, because I'm gonna film it and try to, tell the story later on, I guess, because that fits the very loose parameters of creative endeavors that I've put aside for myself. And plus, it'll be a nice surprise for her when she gets back from sourdough class. Though honestly, her getting back from sourdough class, I don't think she'll be able to be any happier than she already is.
So the question is, what would you do if you didn't have to work for money? And I'm not talking about if you were a bajillionaire. I'm talking about, what if someone gave you your salary for an entire year and you just got to do whatever you wanted? I think I would do two things. One, I would pursue my passion for filmmaking and cinematography, and I really feel like I would pursue more nonprofit work and volunteer more. Which kind of brings us to the second question, which is, what's stopping me from doing those things now? And honestly, the only thing stopping me from doing those things now is me, is myself. Like, certainly my time is constrained by work, but I think about how much I have of free time that I just waste. How much time I spend browsing on the internet or goofing around on social media or playing meaningless games that I could be spending doing something that really matters, or that at least I get fulfillment from. And so I think that's the challenge for myself, is to say, how can I better manage my time so that I can fit in the things that I want to do, that I feel are important in life, so I don't look back with regrets? Because I think at some point we're all going to look back on our lives and say, this is how much time we were given and this is how we used it. And man, what a terrible, terrible feeling it would be to look back and to say, I wish I'd used my time differently.
Woo! Not too shabby, I think. And I certainly hope that our friends this weekend appreciate what I did, because I get sweaty organizing. And why in the world do I sweat while I'm just organizing? It's the dumbest thing. But now the guest bedroom does in fact look a little bit more like a guest bedroom and a little bit less like the place where I store my golf clubs. My golf clubs that I've used once in the past 6 years. So there we go. There's the guest bedroom / my office. This is where I do a lot of podcasting, a lot of editing, a lot of Gundam Wing watching. So day 2 of my 2 hours of creative focus a day has gone better than day 1, where everything went wrong. This only took about the length of one episode of Gundam Wing. So 25 minutes or so. But tonight, Tyler and I are going to do another live stream. So that'll happen, and that'll count towards my quota. Day 2, pretty successful, I think. Kind of ridiculous. Yeah, I'm definitely not trying to be some sort of cool millennial. I just really like to wear hats. I'll tell you what I'm definitely going to be is that weird, like 50-year-old who wears flat bill hats. That's definitely gonna happen. So it's a lovely rainy day. Got a high temperature of like 76 or something, which in the state of Mississippi is basically unheard of. Apparently when my alarm went off this morning, I did not try to snooze it, I just straight up turned it off. Got an extra, 30 minutes of sleep or whatever. Ellie ended up getting up and making the coffee. That's what finally woke me up to the point in which I was like, oh, I need to be going. I failed in my coffee making responsibilities. That's pretty much the only thing that I'm ever required to do at the house. It's like, clean up after yourself and make the coffee in the morning. If I do those 2 things, Ellie is pretty happy. So the challenge today then on day 3 is, what am I gonna do creatively speaking today? So that's the challenge today. The challenge today is to figure out what it is I'm gonna do. So Ellie here has never used, what's it called?
It's called Speech Jammer.
The Speech Jammer app. You might be familiar with it. It's the one that kind of has like an echo of your voice playing through your ears.
Because it is not us that can judge our sins or know what is sin in the Lord's eyes. She has had a hard life, but so does every woman. But you'd think from the way she talked that she knew more about sin and salvation than the Lord.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. I lost count. There's too many merrilies. Been so many merrilies. These people are so merry in this boat. So it's around midnight, and I'm whispering because Ellie's asleep, and because I think it's weird to be talking to my phone at midnight. The inspiration to write hit me at like 11, and so I got a solid hour of just that. It was great. So if I can make any effort to do a creative something, whether it's well thought out or whether it's garbage, just doing it leads to doing more. It leads to inspiration. You guys are wondering why you don't have inspiration. It's because you haven't laid the foundation. The inspiration is built up. But what do I know? I'm really tired. You know, my dad taught me how to do the basics of video editing when I was 13 years old. And it just kind of was one of those things that me and my brothers would do something stupid out in the backyard, do goofy skits about us on the old basketball goals. Went from there to doing a little bit more thought out productions, in particular with some of my high school friends, Tyler Blunt being one of them. I worked a summer camp job my first summer out of high school, so right before freshman year of college. And with the money and with that, I bought a $300 full set that was a camcorder with some like specialty lenses. What all did it come with? I mean, it was basically nothing, but you know, it was mine. It was my camera that I could then use, and I took that to college, and that's what we used for years to just make these dumb short films that were awesome. And you know, I'm 12 years removed from that now, and I'm sitting here talking to, you know, a $1,500 camera with a $200 microphone attached to it, with hundreds more in audio and lighting stuff sitting around, and this is what I do for a living, and it's just weird to look at that now. I spent a long time making something out of nothing. And if there's one thing that I can appreciate because of that, it's that equipment can only carry you so far. If you don't have an idea behind it, if you don't have a purpose behind it, equipment can only carry you so far. So things have opened up themselves to the possibility of doing a podcast tonight. Run for a few years now, a podcast covering soccer news about Liverpool, Premier League team Liverpool, with a couple of guys, and we're going to try to do our first ever live streaming episode of it. So this is liable to be a disaster. Got a pretty simple, straightforward setup here. Of course, you've got your Yeti. Can't get a better USB mic than that. Run it through Google Hangouts normally, which is why we're doing a live stream with it this time around. And got it hardwired as a safety to the router. Easy setup. Doing a podcast. Welcome to this episode of You'll Never Talk Alone, being recorded and live streamed at the same time for the first time ever. Not sure if anyone will turn up to the live stream, but an exciting thing to be doing regardless. Here we are. I'm Joseph Craven. Alex Lebel is here. Alex, how are you tonight?
Could be better, you know. Yeah, pretty much sums it up right there.
Yeah, it really does. The deadline window The deadline day and the transfer window.
One of the first things that came up in my mind is there are a lot of retired people that live near me that walk, and they like to stop and talk and have conversations. And if I could do that, I would stop and talk to them more. And not just like, hey, how you doing, kind of fill them in about the kids, but I would be curious about their life. I would find a way to have more time with my kids on their turf. I would be more curious about what my daughter's like. It grows and changes, and I feel like I'm behind the eight ball. I would do most of what I do already. Right now, at this particular season, whether life has put me into it or I've made some shifts and choices, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm feeling like I'm being really true to myself. And yeah, there's some things I could leave them for sure. But yeah, those ones are the big ones. Kind of doing the outdoor business thing that I'm doing the men's ministry stuff here at the church, small groups. Yes, I mean, I think I would keep doing that, and I would readjust myself in order to spend time with the people that I really feel like I need to spend it with. And probably should do that anyway. Yeah. I want to go see my grandma. She's, I want my kids to see my grandma. She lives 7 hours away. I could choose to go see her. I could choose to go visit my sisters and my family, and I don't do a great job of that. So I would do that. I would blow some things off in order to keep certain people closer in the circle. Now I think I'm going to start doing that, actually. I'm still young enough to where I feel like I don't want other people to think I'm blowing them or work things off. And so I err on the side of caution with that. I mean, in my personal financial world, it's there are some obstacles to being able to travel and go see some people.
Yeah, a lot of these are
pretty normal.
Yeah, and like legitimate reasons that like you can't do some of these things,
Yep. I would turn notifications off a whole lot more. Man, it's a manageable obstacle, but I think I would sit down and talk to my wife about this, and then I would take some steps toward making it be able to happen. Somehow going to see these people, somehow going to maybe eat lunch with my kids more often, and just kind of work out a schedule for that kind of stuff. I know that sounds really simple, but man, it's amazing how we just kind of miss each other all the time with our schedules. Which brings to light the big one, and that is I would choose to be less busy. Be okay with being a disappointment to some people, because there's some people I'm not wanting to disappoint.
So what have I actually learned so far in this experiment? Well, what seems to stand out is that everyone I asked, everyone pretty much said they had something to do, but it just would be a little bit different than what they're doing now, probably. What I've learned is that people need to work, but that work is a complicated thing. We seem to love this idea of, getting rich enough where we never have to work again. We love that concept. We love the lottery concept. And I think there's a lot of people out there that really are lazy enough where if they won the lottery, they would never work again. But I think for most people, we want to be doing something. And if we were to grade work on a scale of finances, flexibility, and fulfillment, it got me thinking a lot about that fulfillment little checkbox. If we're rating that on a scale of 1 to 10, it seems as though what is really important to us in life is finding fulfillment in work. We could find something to do that can get us up to like a 7 or an 8 on that fulfillment scale, but it seems like there's always something else. There's another something out there that will get us to a perfect 10. So really what I think I've learned is not that we are wired to want to work, but we're wired to want to find fulfillment in work. And that work continually disappoints us. But if the ultimate lesson here is that work cannot reach a perfect 10 in fulfillment, then what do we do with that? Well, I know at the very least what I can do with it. Because when I asked myself this question of, what would I do if earning money wasn't an issue? Well, ultimately I was able to come up with a few concrete ideas, and everyone I talked to was able to come up with a few concrete ideas. But when I wondered, well, what's stopping me from doing any of that right now, there wasn't a whole lot there. Some people really do have, distinct limitations on what is keeping them from doing the things that they want to do on a small scale every day. But for me, if I just wanted to spend 6 to 8 hours a day creating stuff that I wanted to create, there was nothing other than my own laziness and fatigue stopping me from doing that on a 2-hour-a-day scale. There's something freeing in recognizing that maybe, just maybe, the productivity I seek cannot be a perfect 10 of fulfillment. And that's okay. But it's something that can't be figured out in just, a few weeks of experimenting with, these efforts and wrestling with these questions. So it's something I'm going to keep fighting for every day as I explore other topics, as I try to create more videos, as I try to dig in deeper to some of the bigger questions. Maybe for me, just the exploration of that is fulfilling. I don't know. But when I really ask myself what's stopping me from really exploring any of that, there's nothing. So I'll leave you with the two questions that I asked myself, and then I asked a lot of people when exploring this topic. What would you do if you didn't have to spend so much of your time earning money to survive? If your needs were met, what would you do with that time? And what's stopping you from starting any of that right now?